Siobhan Muir. Welcome back to Cooking with Siobhan. So today we're going to do an American classic, I think. I mean, I know it's very common around the Thanksgiving holiday. We call it Gratitude Day, but the holiday at the end of November, there's a very common dish that is served on the feasting table, and it's called green bean casserole. And I love green beans. Love them. They are one of my favorite, especially when you get them in the summertime when they're fresh at the farmer's market. They're so good. I will eat them raw. You don't even have to cook them for me. But so I found this, again, this is one of these recipes that was sent to me in the mail years ago. And I just collected them and stuffed them in a thing. And then I went, oh, look at that, green bean casserole.
It's time to make it.
Maybe I should take, yeah. So what are you going to need for this? Now, keep in mind, this is going to be telling you what you need to put the thing together once you've done all the prep. All right? Don't worry, I'm just going to tell you about what you need and then I'll show you the prep. Okay, so you're going to need 1.5 tablespoons of butter, and it's in the back there. 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, where you of course are going to use the gluten-free flour. 1.5 cups of milk. 3 to 4 tablespoons of dry ranch-style salad dressing mix. This is...
It's right behind us.
Basically, you're just going to get one of these little packets and throw it in there. It's for flavor only. It's not going to be by itself. It's not going to sauce you drivel over. It's going to be mixed in. 1 cup chopped onion. Yeah, see, I just chopped an onion. You could do as little or as much as you want. The chopping is the key. You're going to actually have to cut it up. So you could just say 1 onion and 1 small onion and cut it up. 2 cloves of garlic minced, or you can do dehydrated garlic, and this is more than 2 cloves, I promise. We are garlic people, so we measure this with our hearts.
Yep. So that's about 1.5 tablespoons.
Yeah.
And then to rehydrate dried minced garlic, just put in a little bit of water that it covers the top of the garlic or the dried garlic, and then you just let it sit for a couple minutes and it will completely rehydrate.
Yep. And then 1.5 cups sliced fresh mushrooms. I used Baby Bella, so Portobello mushrooms. I just sliced them up. I will show you what I'm talking about. And then 1.25 pounds fresh green beans cooked until crisp tender. So what they just said is you have to do the cutting up and cooking before you even put it in. We will show you. This is ridiculous. You're not supposed to know how to do this. The whole point of how to is to show you how to do it. So we will show you. And then 1 cup fresh breadcrumbs toasted. Here's the deal. Because we're doing gluten-free, they're toasted. We're doing this. We're just gonna do the panko style. We'll dribble them on, and then plus they're gonna go in the oven anyway, so they will be toasted, I promise. It's just that we're using gluten-free, so there you go. Because I'm not chopping up my bread for this. Okay, so what we're gonna show you now is how do you prep the green beans and steam them until crisp tender. That's what we're gonna show you, because they're saying, oh yeah, just throw it all together, it's gonna be fine. You have to know how to do that. So, what you're going to do is you can cut these actually in half to be bite-sized if you prefer, or you can leave them this size. It's fine. It doesn't matter, it just is easier. But he's going to show you how to cap green beans. And we're not snapping, we're just capping.
Right. So, simple for a green bean is you want to cut off the ends, so the tail end which didn't fully grow out, and the stem itself. So, simple, just cut off about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. And then just line it up and cap again. Like Siobhan said, you want them about bite size, so 1 inch or 2 is just fine. For the longer ones, just cut in half again, so that way you have.
Some of these are really long, though.
Fine, I'll cut that one. You're just picky.
I am.
Okay, that's it. And from this point, to steam it, like anything, doesn't matter if it's from the grocery store or you get it from the farmer's market, definitely wash and rinse. So I've got my steamer basket, and I'm just going to transfer it over and rinse off. And while I start the steaming process, Siobhan will continue with the next phase.
We're basically going to make a white sauce that is going to be the creamy part of the green bean casserole. But I want him to also to talk about, he will in a minute, talk about how long to steam the vegetables. You're definitely going to need, do you bring that to a boil?
Yes.
So you do bring, so what he's going to do is he's going to put the steamer basket on top of a pot of water. Not very much, 2 or 3 inches of water in the bottom, not a big deal. And then you heat the water up and you steam through the basket to make your green beans softer. And once it's boiling, it only takes like 3 to 5 minutes, not very long.
And that's generally with any kind of steamed vegetables. The tougher the vegetable, the longer it takes. So I would say you're looking at 5-10 minutes at the most. And the good thing is, I have Siobhan here. She can tell me when it's done because I prefer her taste versus mine. And again, it takes about 5 minutes. Once the water starts to boil and starts to steam, it doesn't take long. Can you add salt to the water? You can, if you want to. I usually don't.
Not for this.
Just because I know the rest of the dish is going to have plenty of salt in it. So, I mean, I don't want the salt. I know it's going to be in the water and it's not going to really add to the actual vegetables. I just, you know what? I don't need it and I don't want it. So, I'm going to be that way. And
okay.
I turn it over to you, my dear.
All right, so now we're going to make the sauce. And it says, to make the white sauce, melt 1.5 teaspoons of butter. And I got out 4 because it was just easy. But you're gonna want about 1.5. If you err on the side of 2 tablespoons of butter, you're gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. If you can't get 1.5, it's totally okay. This is what you're first gonna put into a saucepan. You don't want a big one. I'm using, I think it's a 2-quart. You could go even smaller if you want to. I'm not going to. I'm gonna do it in the 2-quart. But basically, it says melt butter in a small saucepan over low heat. And then it says stir in the flour, and we need 3 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. My handy dandy gluten-free baking flour. It works just fine as an all-purpose flour as well.
And like anything, when you start adding in flour, you want to make sure you're going to create a paste. And so you want to make sure that it doesn't burn, but it blends in.
It says cook 1 to 2 minutes, stirring constantly, which he's doing. With a wire whisk,
Yep. Go ahead
stir
and pour it in slowly.
the milk. And this is 1.5 cups of milk. And
so,
it says, using a wire whisk, stir in the milk, bring to a boil. Cook, whisking constantly 1 to 2 minutes or until thickened.
for thickening, the hard part is I can't tell you how you're going to know when it's going to thicken. It's going to be one of those things where you're going to feel a little bit of resistance against the whisk, and it's going to just get heavier. It's a weird way to try and describe it.
Adds more resistance.
Thank you, Siobhan. That's why you're the wordsmith and I'm not. With that, it's one of those. Again, you do need to whisk all of the time, just because you don't want to get clumps of.
No one wants
flour.
clumps of flour in their sauce.
The sauce is starting to thicken. We turned up the heat a little bit. I'm feeling resistance against the whisk, and I haven't had enough coffee today, I can tell you right now. And so we're ready. The sauce is starting to thicken up.
Okay.
So Siobhan, you tell me what to do. And we've already started the green beans to steam, and they've been going for about 4 minutes. So, all right, good looking. What's next?
So the next is that you want to do 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon white pepper. We don't have white pepper, so we're going to use black pepper. Besides, the sauce is already white. You don't really need white pepper. So I'm going to do.
That's plenty.
Yeah, I'm going to do. See, now you can actually see it. You want a little more so you can see it better?
You can add a little bit more.
Okay.
The thing about like the recipe, they're calling for dry spicing. Dry actually loses its flavor and its potency over time. If you use freshly
ground,
and in this case the freshly ground black pepper. You only need about 1/3 of what they asked for. Oh yeah, this is nice and thick now.
It is. And so now we're getting 3 to 4 of these. So I'll start with 3 and we'll taste it.
Okay.
3 to 4 teaspoons of flavoring to go into the sauce. I would like. Once you've mixed it, set it. Turn off the heat and set it aside. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 177 degrees Celsius. And spray a medium skillet with nonstick cooking spray to heat over medium-high heat. We're gonna add the onion and the garlic. So we're gonna saute onion and garlic. This is a way to really soften things up and make it really tasty, because what you're gonna do is gonna combine it in, and then you don't really want the crunchy things in there. You don't want to do that. So we're going to saute. We're going to saute our garlic, which is here, and we're gonna saute the onion. Now I cut up an entire onion. You're only supposed to use a cup, but again, we are garlic and onion people. If we're making a vegetable dish, it's going to be good. So let's saute. Shall we saute?
Yes. Do we need oil?
Yeah, it said cooking spray, but I would use.
No.
We're gonna use avocado oil.
So I'm gonna use avocado oil because it won't add any extra flavor. The nice thing is both avocado and olive oil cook at the same, or they have the same smoke temperature.
Heat index.
Thank you. I knew I was forgetting something. And so with that heat index, it allows you to cook it at a pretty high temperature, but also, it doesn't break down. The nice thing is the avocado is pretty much a pretty flat cooking oil, which allows it to...
What do you mean by flat?
It doesn't add in an extra flavor.
How about that much?
That'll work.
Is that enough, or do you want the rest of it?
No, let's go with this.
Okay. We have chocolate in it.
Yep.
And then it says, over medium-high heat, cook and stir 2 to 3 minutes or until tender for the garlic and the onion. If you're not really big into garlic, you don't have to use this much. We are garlic people. So we will use a lot of garlic. But we really like things flavored, garlicky flavor.
So cooking onions and the garlic shouldn't take more than a handful of minutes. What you want to do is just to soften up the onions. The best way to tell when it's soft is that it starts to become translucent. That's about it. For us, at about 6,200 feet, 7 minutes for the green beans was perfect. So again, it's always nice to be able to taste it to find out whether or not it meets the texture. And it's supposed to be firm, but tasty, crisp.
Yeah, crisp but not tough.
And so the onions are starting to become translucent. And what's the next step, my dear?
You're gonna split it in half. Half is gonna stay in there, half is gonna come in here.
Okay.
Because we're gonna add the mushrooms to half. So then you add the mushrooms. Add mushrooms to onion mixture remaining in the skillet and cook about 5 minutes or until the mushrooms are tender.
I'm gonna add a little more oil.
Good point. That's probably good for the mushrooms.
Yep. So I don't want them to burn to the pan. Because of how dry they are, they could burn to the pan easily.
So the next thing that we're going to do is, so once you've cooked the mushrooms and the onions and the garlic together, you're going to combine that mixture with the white sauce and the green beans.
Put it in the pan, right?
But you're going to do it in here, in your casserole dish. So I don't know which one you want to do first.
Start with this.
Okay, so he's going to put in the mushrooms, garlic, onion dish. Then you have this. And then he's gonna add the green beans. All right, and I'm gonna kind of toss them a little bit to get the onions and the garlic and the mushrooms mixed up into the green beans. And then over the top of this, you are going to add the white sauce.
Work gonna probably blend this in.
I would think so. I would think you'd want to mix the whole shebang.
It's pretty solid.
Ooh, look at how thick it is.
Yep, that was a nice thick sauce.
That is a nice thick sauce.
Okay.
Now, with some of these recipes, I've seen people use cream of mushroom soup. This is basically the cream of mushroom soup, is what we made our own cream of mushroom soup. While he mixes that, what you're going to do is combine breadcrumbs and the reserve onion mixture, mix them together and sprinkle over the top of your casserole. What you're going to do is I'm going to sprinkle this over and kind of evenly distribute it, and then we're going to bake it. And it says bake uncovered until heated through about 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah!
Looks good.
So this is what it's going to end up looking like. A little crispy, a little crunchy, a little oniony. And then you bake that for 20 to 30 minutes. We're gonna start at 20 minutes, we'll check it, and then we will show you what we did after. Ooh, it looks really good. Okay, so what we did is when we baked it, we put it in for 30 minutes because 20 minutes wasn't quite enough. You can see it's browned a little bit, which makes it really kind of very attractive. Before we took it out, there hadn't been much browning.
It smells pretty good.
It does. It smells
for a
pretty
first
good.
shot at doing even a gluten-free, green bean casserole, it smells pretty good. So there's hope.
We'll show you when it's a little bit cooler. I think.
Let's give it a go.
You want to try it?
Go ahead. Give it a go. Let's see how it tastes. First ever gluten-free. I guess that's a winner.
That's really good. What do you think?
Very nice.
Isn't that nice? Okay. Rather impressed
For a
with
first
myself.
go, it's actually really nice. We probably could have steamed the green beans just a hair longer.
I don't know. I kind of like them a
They're
little al dente. I think we might have been able to add another teaspoon of the ranch mix to kind of zing it up
Add a little
bit.
more flavor. But all that minced garlic didn't overwhelm the flavor, which was nice. It gave it depth. So this was a success.
It was a success. It was a success even if it's your first time ever making it. It turned out pretty good. Like I would eat it. And I'm a little particular, but this is really good.
You and I have never been a huge green bean casserole fan.
No.
And this one was
It turned out good.
and right from scratch.
Yep.
Nothing processed.
Well, the ranch stuff is processed, but everything else was from scratch, and it makes a difference. When you use fresh ingredients, it really makes a difference. Your food turns out better.
Very nicely done.
Thank you for joining us. Make sure that you ring the bell so you know when new videos are up. You subscribe to the channel. You like and comment on this recipe. Let us know if you did something different, because I know a lot of people, this is a traditional recipe that people use. Tell us what you did that was different. And the gluten-free is just a couple little things, like just the flour and the breadcrumbs. But yeah, that was really good. Also, sign up for my Patreon, because if you sign up for Patreon, not only do you get these cooking videos, but you also get cover reveals, you get little bits of story that I have a cereal story that I only put up there. You get all sorts of other goodies, and if you go for the highest tier, you get a free book every quarter. So, thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this. Happy making, happy baking, happy eating, and happy reading. Bye.
Bye.